So as most of y'all who actually pay attention to the things I say in my videos know, I'm a huge wrestling fan, always have been, probably always will be. And a few months back I made a rant about Jim Cornette around about the time he got fired from the National Wrestling Alliance because Cornette gone Cornette. And the response to that video was pretty positive for the most part, with the only really negative response being from Cornette's fanbase. So the thing is this. Jim Cornette got himself over, obviously, as a manager back in the National Wrestling Alliance and from then on in the wrestling business, right? But outside of the ring, Jim became popular amongst a certain portion of the internet wrestling community because of his shoot interviews where he didn't hold back and really gave nothing in the way of a fuck. He was honest to a fault. If he didn't like you, he was fucking perfectly willing to tear you to shreds. It was entertaining shit. Up until Jim became a parody of himself, because at some point within the last fucking so many ever years, Jim Cornette has turned into a self-parody where anything more advanced than a headlock is a problem. But I've already ranted about my general disdain for modern day Jim Cornette. What I'd like to talk about is my general disdain for the so-called cult of Cornette, Jim's fan base. Now that's where most of the problem came from in my fucking Jim Cornette video, is the old cult of Cornette. The problem with the so-called cult of Cornette is most of them don't have a fucking single original thought in their heads. It's just all parroting Jim's fucking little buzzwords and insulting nicknames for people. You know, you usually hear shit like Outlaw Mud Show, fucking wrestling show. You normally hear them running down indie wrestlers. You normally hear them calling people these insulting nicknames like fucking Jelly Nutella instead of using Joey Janela's correct name, and so on and so forth. Look, I don't mind being a fan of somebody, you know, obviously wrestling, you're gonna have your favourites, you're gonna have your unfavourites, you're gonna have things you like and you dislike. But at least have your own original fucking reasons for not liking something. And if you're going to dislike something, then you can at least be reasonable and say, hey, obviously there's a fucking audience for this somewhere. Not just condemn it outright because senile old man Cornette said it's bad in a fucking podcast at some point. Because here's the thing, right? Along with using the same nicknames and along with using the same little fucking buzzwords and shit, all these motherfuckers will run down the same shit Jim runs down. You don't get a fucking good reason why, however. It's always, yeah, no, I hate this shit, Outlaw Mud Show, fucking blah 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 blah. It's never fucking, hey, I dislike this and I agree with Jim because of my own reasoning, my own logic, my own specific fucking reasoning for disliking this one particular thing. It's always, because fucking, it's shit. Yeah, but why is it shit? Because it's shit. Yeah, but please explain how it's shit. Typical Outlaw Indie Mud Show bullshit. Yes, well, how is it that? Because it's bad. And so on. And so on. And so on. There's never justification as to why. Like, let's put it this way. I'm not a huge fan of deathmatch wrestling. It's just a genre I can't get into because there's hardcore wrestling and then there's going fucking crazy with shit like broken glass, light tubes and fucking weed whackers and so on and so forth. I'm not a big fan of CZW as a whole. However, I can admit A, there's an audience for CZW, and B, there is some fucking incredible talent that works in CZW that usually goes off elsewhere and fucking graduates to the bigger promotions. It's happened in the past. There are a lot of wrestlers who've worked for CZW who do more than just the deathmatch wrestling. You've got wrestlers who do your traditional high-flying, chain wrestling and so on and so forth, and they're very fucking good at it. So obviously I can admit, while CZW ain't my bag, they've got a fucking place in wrestling, and you've got a group of people that like them for a reason, because it appeals to a niche audience. Your cult of Cornette, on the other hand, would say, it's shit, it has no place in wrestling, because them and their favourite old man don't like it. I don't mind criticising shit, guys, okay? Feel free to criticise shit. But going, I don't like it because someone said it's bad, is groupthink. There is no originality behind, oh, Mr. Cornette said it's bad, therefore it's bad. You get a lot of these guys saying they hate AEW, or they hate GCW, or they hate fucking anything connected to, say, the Young Bucks, Joey Janela, whoever else. I would have said previously Joey Ryan, but Cornette was right on him, so fuck that guy. And whatever the fuck wrestler Cornette's looking at that he doesn't like this time, like Sami Callihan, for example. You know, these guys will dislike these guys or anything with these guys in it without specifying why. You can have reasons to dislike them, guys, just have original reasons. Or, if someone helps you articulate your reasons, then at least admit they've helped you. Don't just outright go, this cunt I like said it's bad, so it's bad. Watch it. Discover it. Come to your own conclusions. Don't be a pack of fucking drones. And as far as the whole jumping on anybody that criticises Cornette, a lot of us have valid criticisms. Jim is a dinosaur. Jim is a relic of a bygone era. I'll be honest. Jim wasn't a particularly successful promoter. It's why SMW shut. And it's why fucking OVW eventually got fucking sold to somebody else. Cornette's got his place in fucking wrestling, yeah. And again, following that logic I said about CZW, there are people out there that like him, and obviously he's got an audience. I just don't particularly like his fucking place in wrestling and the fact he divides wrestling fans. I don't like the fact that Jim Cornette is basically wrestling poison. And the thing that fucking bugs me, okay, and this is on a personal note. You get these motherfuckers coming onto my videos, coming onto my videos going, well, Mr. Cornette's got about 40 years of wrestling experience, so he knows more than you do. Cool. By that logic, I've got 11 years of wrestling experience, so I know more than you do, so why the fuck are you arguing with me? See how stupid that logic sounds? But yeah. Cornette well poisons a lot. Cornette divides wrestling fans. I don't like Jim Cornette. But obviously, you've got his little cult of fucking Cornettes that sit there, parrot his shit, listen to his shit, and think his word's fucking gospel in spite of the fact Jim Cornette has never fucking actually wrestled in a single match in his life. Oh yeah, but Damo, he's had... Those weren't actual wrestling matches. Those were comedy matches. You know, the kind that Jim actually says he doesn't like? You know, like his little fucking tuxedo match with, I think it was Paul Heyman? Yeah, no, real catch as catch can classic, that one. It's the type of thing Cornette would fucking run through a sawmill these days. Cornette has his place in wrestling, but you know, not my bag. And I'm sick of his fan base parroting shit and fucking acting like it's gospel. Come up with your own thoughts, come up with your own conclusions, just stop fucking parroting Jim Cornette. Because Jim said so isn't a fucking good reason. The end. Anyway, I'm Damian Skyfire. Till next time.